Come, come, whoever you are. Come with your hurts, your imperfections, your places that feel raw and exposed. Come, come, whoever you are. Come with your strengths that the world shudders to hold. Come with your wild imaginings of a better world. Come with your hopes that it seems no one wants to hear. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, we will make a place for you. We will build a home together. Ours is not a caravan of despair. We walk together. Come, yet again, come.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of New Orleans, a congregation that has gathered in love since 1833 to seek wholeness and work for justice in the world. My name's Melissa Gamble, and my pronouns are they, them. Gabe, do you mind introducing yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Gabe. I also use they, them pronouns.
We're your worship associates for today. If you are a visitor, we invite you to raise your hand so that we can greet you. Also, we would like to ensure that everyone in attendance can hear the service in its entirety. So if you're unable to hear any of the speakers, please wave your hand and we will do our best to speak up. As a lay-led congregation, we invite a variety of worship leaders from our congregation and the broader community to give the sermon and contribute to other parts of our service. Our worship today is led by some of our religious education families. Can we give them a round of applause, please? We invited our families to take part in leading today's service, and we especially encouraged the children to stay and participate. There are fidgets and coloring books available in front for anyone of all ages to borrow. Barrett, if you don't mind raising your hand. Barrett has all the goodies and treats and fidgets. Cool. If children need a break at any point during the service, they are welcome to head to the kids' room down the hall. Welcome.
Please rise and body your spirit and join me in lighting the chalice of our heritage, and join me in reading the words that you will find in the order of service. We gather together to light this flame in the spirit of becoming, the desire for more learning, for the education of our communities, the cause of justice, and the unwavering desire for a better world. Please remain as you are for our opening hymn, number 389 in your gray hymnal.
We are going to do this hymn as a round. We're going to sing it all the way through once, and then I'm going to lead this side, and Margaret's going to lead that side, and we're going to do it as a round 3 times. Okay? Ready, and gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the mystery of the power, Spirit near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit draw near. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power, Spirit near.
Spirit draw near.
So for the month of February, our church is doing a Black History Month moment highlighting Black UUs every Sunday this month. And to kick that off, I just wanted to share with you all more about Black History Month. So I'm going to start with the late Nikki Giovanni's poem about the viability of Black History Month. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain, you're as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too. This moment of Black History Month isn't lost, right? It's not lost on us. The anti-DEI bills and legislation, the discourse, it's not lost. And what strikes me about this poem is how it intertwines the urgency with care that Giovanni's repeated "if" makes us consider the consequences of neglect, but it also shows us the beauty of what we stand to lose. In that sense, it's not just a celebration of Black history, this poem, it's an insistence on its permanence, its necessity, and its ongoing relevance, that it's essential. And now Black History Month started in 1926 by Carter G. Woodson. It was started as Negro Literature and History Week. And it was started to increase the visibility of Black history in public institutions, especially in the Reconstruction. It was in the Reconstruction era. And Carter saw the importance of making sure that Black folks knew their history and that it was being taught in the public school. So he's started these campaigns in southern states, relying on churches and teachers and the Black press to spread information about Black History Month. And it wasn't formalized as a federally recognized observance until 50 years later. But it's not lost on us today that this started as a community movement, right? It started as Carter G. Woodson seeing the importance of making sure folks knew their stories. He himself was the child of formerly enslaved people, and seeing that the necessity for history to be taught, history to be dispersed, in schools, through churches, through the press, it's not lost on us this moment. And yeah, thinking about Nikki Giovanni's poem about if Black history is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. So today, in this month, we celebrate Black history, knowing that even if the powers at be deem it not viable, we know that it is, and that through community, education, our church here, talking about the history today, we know that Black history is always viable, the month is always viable, the stories always need to be told, and oral histories remain told today.
Hey, can y'all hear me? Yay! Hi, friends. We're going to do a story for all ages. If you are young or young at heart, feel free to come sit up here and read this book with me. Also, hi, I'm Tucker. Okay, today we are going to read a book called Ablaze with Color, a story of painter Alma Thomas. Raise your hand or make some noise if you've heard of Alma Thomas. Yes, incredible. Okay, she's one of the coolest painters ever, honestly. All right, Ablaze with Color, a story of painter Alma Thomas. A quote from her in 1970. She says, "Through color, I have sought to concentrate on beauty and happiness rather than on man's inhumanity to man." Alma always felt her best when she was outside soaking up the sparkling colors of nature. In the garden at her house on a hill, she skipped around circles of flowers. pastel purple violets and crimson roses crowned by bright green banana leaves. Do you see the leaves? She fell back on the grass beneath poplar trees and gazed at a quivering yellow leaves that whistled in the wind. Alma waded in the blue hues of a brook and basked in the warm glow of sunsets. Alma was always on the go, never wanting to sit or cook or sew like her 3 younger sisters. She wanted to make things that she could hold. Alma scooped up moist red clay from the banks of the nearby stream. She shaped small bowls and cups to dry in the sizzling sun. Inside her house, Alma's world was also full of color and creativity. Her mother designed dazzling dresses, singing as she sewed. Her aunts painted petals and patterns, and Alma dipped her brush in tiny pots. Although Alma felt joy at home, she and her sisters were sad that they couldn't attend the school just 2 doors away, the white school, and they couldn't enter museums or the town library. So, Alma's parents filled their home with books and created their own place of learning. They invited teachers into their living room to talk about people and places around the world, famous stories, ways of thinking, and even though Alma didn't understand all that was said by the grown-ups, she watched and she listened and she learned. When Alma turned 15 and couldn't attend the local high school, her family decided to move to the north, away from the injustices of the South. After the train crossed the state border, Alma's mother told the girls to take off their shoes and shake out the Georgia sand and never go back again. The family moved into a home in Washington, D.C., where Alma would live most of her life. A house with a flower garden, a patch of nature that always made her happy. When Alma grew up, she studied art in college. She chose to share her love of art by teaching at the local school. But even in the nation's capital, schools were still segregated and access to art was very limited. Alma was determined to bring art to the young people in her neighborhood, just as her parents had brought learning into her home when she was young. Alma invited children into her living room and taught them to make wooden marionettes. They performed their own plays when they weren't allowed to see puppet shows downtown. In her free time, Alma painted, studied, and shared ideas with artist friends. Sometimes their work was exhibited together. Mainly, though, she devoted herself to helping children, leading field trips to art clubs, and setting up the first gallery in a school. Finally, when Alma was almost 70 years old, she stopped teaching and focused on her own art. Sitting in her favorite red chair, she stared at the patterns of light and color twinkling through the leaves of her holly tree, just as she had watched the fluttering leaves of the poplar trees when she was a young girl. Inspired by what she saw, Alma began painting in a new style. Circles and stripes, dashes and dabs, ablaze with color. Soft colors, bright colors. She created colors and patterns she remembered from her childhood days in the South and from what she saw now at her favorite park nearby. She painted how she felt on the inside when she experienced nature outside. The wind, the sunshine, the flowers, how nature made her heart sing and dance even when life could be hard and unjust. Alma imagined soaring high in an airplane, even though she had never been in one. Gardens and trees below became streaks and smudges. Amazed by space travel, new at the time, Alma envisioned traveling abroad, rockets with astronauts, the starry sky zooming, spaceships glimmered as dashes and swatches. Galleries began showing Alma's new artwork, and then the unexpected happened. The Whitney Museum, a famous art museum in New York City, featured Alma's paintings of Earth and space, the first solo show by a Black woman. Thrilled by the honor, Alma greeted crowds gathered at the museum, a place where everyone could visit. Later that year, the Corrigan Gallery of Art, a large museum in DC, also showcased her paintings. The mayor proclaimed September 9th as Alma Thomas Day to celebrate Alma, her art, and all that she had done for the city's youth. You see her paintings? Sadly, Alma didn't live to see the momentous day when the first Black president and First Lady chose Alma's painting as the first artwork by a Black woman to be displayed in the White House, the home of the president's family and a symbol of the American people. Alma's art shimmered above a long table in the old family dining room of the White House, where famous leaders, teachers, and artists gathered. Just as people had gathered in Alma's childhood home, just as children had gathered in Alma's DC house. In Alma's piece, yellow dashes swirl, circles upon circles swirl, orange, red, purple, and blue, a soft, quiet center, a green of nature, a painting of hope and joy, ablaze with glorious color, Alma's colors. The end. Thank you. I'll take that. Thank you. Thanks.
Now is the time for joys and sorrows. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and our sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. If you would like, you may come forward and release a stone into the water in silence or with the brief expression of a special joy or sorrow, personal or communal.
This is my joy for all those who have stood up to bullies this week.
I have a couple. Is that on? Okay. I can't hear. Sorry, I can't hear myself. I have a couple of sorrows. My brother's partner of 20 years died right at the end of December, and we're going up to Portland to be with him next week. Connie Leakopoulos Hoover, Constantina Leakopoulos Hoover. She had had a very long debilitating disease. And my ex-husband, Ray Manning, died on Friday. And he also had a long path of some years of barely being there. But the joy of that is that my daughter Laura is coming up from Costa Rica, and his marching band Crazy Group is going to do a honorary thing for him on Mardi Gras Day when they march.
I had a joy that just seemed to come to me from every angle today, just about how sometimes the human body can heal in such amazing ways. My girlfriend had a hip replacement and just is really back to herself. And then I saw a member come in who I knew who had a surgery recently, looking amazing, and just thinking about all of the injuries and troubles of the past year, and that some people really have just healed so beautifully, and it just made me want to hope for those who are still working toward that in our community and everywhere.
I don't actually have words for my joys and sorrows today. I don't have words for my joys and sorrow today. I just wanted to be here with you and them.
I have a joy and a sorrow. A sorrow is that my mother-in-law, Chris's mom, Doris, has been suffering with pain in her leg for the last couple of weeks. She was doing really well after having hip surgery, and then all of a sudden she's not feeling well at all. So hopefully she'll be back on the mend and able to go back to her regular activities. And then I have a joy for my brother, who's started a medication that's really helped him with his anxiety, and it's just made being in his presence and being his sister and interacting with him so much more joyful.
My joy is being with you this morning, all of you. I'm always delighted and encouraged by the love and support that I receive from this community. This time next week, my plan is to be landing in Chicago for a health concern that I have. So I'm just asking that you would keep me in your good thoughts, prayers, that I will have the courage to face whatever it is, because this is diagnostic to see what it is, and then I guess it will be recommended what could be and should be done about it. But just until we meet again, I'll look forward to seeing you. Usually when I leave, I'll have a time. I'll be back such and such. I don't know this time. So I'm just asking for courage and strength to do whatever it is that I need to do about this health concern that I have.
I have a joy and a sorrow. My joy is Echo and Margot, although she's not my girlfriend. Melanie is back with us. Yay! My sorrow is that ICE is active in New Orleans now. They've been to the bus station. They are knocking on people's houses. It's very scary. People are afraid to come out of their homes.
I have a couple personal joys. I booked tickets to see my airfare to see my cousin in Oakland this coming summer. I saw him last summer as well. And then I'm going to book tickets for my honeymoon with my fiance to Maine coming up. My sorrows are more global or have to do with what's going on in the United States. I have a sorrow that one of the oligarchs has access to the Treasury Department, and that our country is slowly or quickly kind of moving towards an oligarchy. That's a sorrow. The other sorrow is the against international law and war crimes that Guantanamo Bay is opening up 30-fold larger than it was. At points in the Bush administration, the Obama administration, it held about 800 people that were accused of terrorism, and now it's going to hold 30,000 people. And again, it's against international law, against the Constitution, and it's essentially a concentration camp. So that's one of my sorrows, for sure.
Okay, see if no, I can't do it. Sorry. Thank you.
I have a joy and a sorrow. The sorrow is for the attempt to dismantle democracy that we've seen over the last 2 weeks in our country. But the joy and the hope is for the reckoning that will come from all of us paying attention. There has been no great change that has ever happened in any city, state, or nation without outrage and without people paying attention. And that's what we have to do. Think globally and act locally to protect the people and the institutions that we love and that we know will endure. Think about the change that happened when the images of black people being mowed down by police during the race riots that ultimately resulted in the Civil Rights Act. That's the kind of change that I hope dearly will happen once people get over being confused and are able to focus on what is really happening right now. Blessed be.
I have a joy. I was blessed with a grandbaby boy this week, Gatlin Brooks. He's my 4th grandbaby boy, and in June I'm being blessed with my son having twins, a boy and a girl. So I'm doubling my grandchild count this year.
The joy that I'd like to express is for the ceasefire in Gaza, and that we can now pray for, I know it's a complicated issue, but we're going to be praying for its being sustained and established and become the norm, and we're not praying for a ceasefire.
Sorry, y'all, I was confused. Okay. May we remember those who have spoken those they have named, and those we hold in silence in our hearts. We're now going to enter into a time of silence in which we'll close by singing a hymn, Voice Still and Small.
Please join me as we read our responsive reading found in your order of service. I'll begin, and please respond with a text in italics. Like everything in nature, we all have gifts.
Sometimes the gifts don't seem like gifts.
The bee stings, the stinging nettle that irritates your skin. But when we look at our ecosystem in totality, it is a reminder to make room for the whole.
It's a reminder to make room for all of us in all our fiery, singing glory.
Has anyone here been to a Black History Month service before? Amazing. Do folks recall what they loved about that service, or just like a memory that you have of it? Would anyone like to share? I will come with the mic.
I've heard in this faith community, I've heard Gwendolyn share stories about her life and how she understood and grew and changed her life because she grew in her understanding, and so her stories have become really a part of our knowledge of what it is to be a Black woman growing up and living her life. So I always hold those stories that you've told from this pulpit as very dear as a part of our Black history.
My mother was a member of a Black choir, so every Sunday was Black History when I went to see her. And it was very consciousness raising. In spite of all of the discrimination, the Black church really came through and they expressed their joy every week, which is something we all should remember.
I was blessed for 5 years to be a part of St. Luke's Episcopal Church. It is the oldest, predominantly African-American Episcopal church in America. And some of you went to the service recently, but I feel like I got to celebrate it every Sunday.
Thank you all for sharing. I asked that question because for me, growing up, Black History Month service was like a ritual, a tradition, a way of becoming, a way of learning that I wasn't taught at my predominantly white school. It was a way of understanding, a way of articulation. It was a way of learning in ways that I really needed. I learned about Maya Angelou's poems I still have today in my heart that I can still recite. I learned about Langston Hughes. I learned about so many people that have inspired me and shaped me. Not just like, I feel like oftentimes when people hear Black History Month, it comes off gimmicky, but I like to think of it as a ritual, a tradition that has been passed down for generations. My mom was a preschool teacher, and she led the Black History service at my church every year. And the way of learning how to articulate my past as blueprints to my present and my future are so vital. And so, thank you all for participating in this service today. And as we go into our time of sharing, if you can be very enthusiastic in your applause as folks come up here and just invite them into the space. So we will now begin with Michael Martin.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Gabe. This poem was supposed to be read by my daughter, Maddie. She is sick today, and so if you can imagine a more mellifluous and softer voice than mine speaking, and her only requirement was that it was by a fellow female. So this is by Phyllis Wheatley, and she is the first published African-American poet, and it's an address to the Earl of Dartmouth. Hail, happy day, when smiling like the morn, fair freedom rose New England to adorn. The northern clime beneath her genial ray, Dartmouth congratulates thy blissful sway. Elate with hope her race no longer mourns, each soul expands, each grateful bosom burns, while in thine hand with pleasure we behold the silken reins and freedom's charms unfold. long lost to realms beneath the northern skies. She shines supreme while hated faction dies. Soon as appeared the goddess long desired, sick at the view she languished and expired. Thus from the splendors of the morning light, the owl in sadness seeks the caves of night. No more, America, in mournful strain of wrongs and grievance unredressed complain. No longer shalt thou dread the iron chain which wanton tyranny with lawless land had made, and with it meant to enslave the land. Should you, my Lord, while you peruse my song, wonder from whence my love of freedom sprung, whence flow these wishes for the common good, by feeling hearts alone best understood, I, young in life, by seeming cruel fate, was snatched from Afric's fancied happy seat. What pangs excruciating must molest, what sorrows labor in my parents' breast. Steeled was that soul, and by no misery moved, that from a father seized his babed beloved. Such my case. And can I then but pray others may not feel tyrannic sway? For favors past, great sir, our thanks are due. In thee we ask thy favors to renew, since in thy power, as in thine will before, to soothe the griefs which thou didst once deplore, may heavenly grace the sacred state sanction give to all thy works, and thou forever live, not only on the wings of fleeting fame, though praise immortal crowns the patriot's name, but to conduct to heaven's refulgent fane, may fiery coursers sweep the ethereal plain, and bear thee upwards to the blessed abode, where, like the prophet, thou shalt find thy God. Phyllis Wheatley.
And now we welcome Sarah and Laurel Covert.
Hi, I'm Sarah Covert. This is my daughter, Laurel Knutson. Can you say hi? We were really honored to be asked to participate in the service. We have a book at home called Bad Girls Throughout History. And just like all those bad girls, I put it, like all those bad girls, I put it down somewhere. And I can't find it now. But luckily I sent Barrett a picture of the passage. So we chose Maya Angelou. Yes. Okay. You ready for the story? Many consider Maya Angelou a U.S. national treasure. A writer, activist, filmmaker, actor, and lecturer well into her 80s, Angelou transcended her humble upbringing in deeply racist Arkansas to create a vast body of work that helped to change the landscape of American culture. After a traumatic childhood event that she would later chronicle in her game-changing memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Angelou became extraordinarily gifted in arts and literature and earned a scholarship to a San Francisco high school. As a teen, she became the first African-American female cable car conductor in San Francisco. She became a mom at 16 and married a Greek aspiring musician, flouting the existing laws forbidding interracial marriage. Angelou studied dance with legendary choreographer Alvin Ailey and became a staple on the calypso music and dance scene as a performer. She also toured Europe with a production of the opera Porgy and Bess. After meeting novelist John Oliver Killens in 1959, she joined the Harlem Writers Guild and published her first written work. She became a civil rights activist and worked alongside Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Angelou would go on to write 36 books, earning the honor of both being on the banned books list and holding the record for the longest-running nonfiction book on the New York Times bestseller list. In addition to roles in producing, writing, and directing film and television, Angelou became the first African-American woman to pen a screenplay that was actually made into a film. The Pulitzer Prize-nominated Georgia, Georgia. She won 3 Grammys for her spoken word albums, served on 2 presidential committees, and became the first female poet to compose and recite a poem for a presidential inauguration, President Bill Clinton's in 1993. Showered with accolades at the end of her life, Angelou was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor, by President Barack Obama in 2010. Angelou was fittingly recognized in her lifetime for her work that opened America's hearts and minds. And this passage comes from a quote from her that has a bad word in it, but I will give you the paraphrase. You gotta go out and kick butt.
Hold on.
Thank you, Laurel and Sarah. I'll now invite Sarah, Chris, Cora, and Charlie Pixon to come up and share a story with us.
Okay. I think, can you hear me on the mic? Okay. I am reading, actually, so if anyone wants to come see the book, which is actually, we didn't plan it this way, it's a perfect follow-up from Tucker's book, because this is about Mae Jemison, the first black female astronaut. And this is a book I've read to my kids since they were young. I also really highly recommend this series, Little People, Big Dreams. Yeah, please come sit. It's biographies, and they have biographies of lots of famous and historic black Americans such as Rosa Parks, but also more recent change makers like RuPaul, which I thought about reading today, but I chose Mae Jemison instead, because I think that everyone looks up at the stars, right? We wonder what's out there. And so I've always been fascinated by people that actually got to go to space. I'm going to put my lavalier down here. Okay, little Mae was a bright girl who lived in a small apartment in Chicago, USA, with her parents and 2 siblings. Her dreams were infinite, which meant that they had no ending, just like the countless stars that she saw in the night sky. No, it's Mommy's turn. It's Mommy's turn. At kindergarten, most of the children wanted to be nurses, teachers, or firefighters when they grew up. But Mae had other plans. She wanted to be a scientist. Her teacher thought this goal was too hard for her to reach. Of course, Mae knew better. When she was older, Mae left the big city to go to a camp with her class. Listening to her teacher's lesson about the stars, she felt a part of the universe. She couldn't wait to visit the library and discover all the secrets of space. One day, Mae picked a very special book. It was a science fiction novel. Inside its pages, she discovered an imaginary world where humans explored other galaxies. That night, she dreamt that she was traveling on a spaceship. Every Thursday, after her ballet class, Mae sat in front of the TV to watch her favorite sci-fi series. It followed the voyages of a starship in outer space. Her hero was an officer called Uhura, who looked very much like her. Sadly, in real life, things were quite different. At that time, no women or people of color were sent on space missions in her country. Mae worried that if aliens were watching, they would think white men were the only people on Earth. When she was just 16, Mae went to college and graduated with degrees in chemical engineering and African American studies. She realized that many scientists in ancient African kingdoms had also explored the heavens. Space belonged to everyone. Next, May went to medical school. During her training, she traveled to Cuba, Thailand, and Kenya to help people. Later, as a doctor, she volunteered across Africa with the Peace Corps, an organization that supports people worldwide. May went back home where she received a long-awaited letter. She had earned a place in NASA's astronaut class. The training included parachuting, survival lessons, and tips on how to be a helpful crew member of a supersonic aircraft. In 1992, May became the first woman of color to enter space. Sorry, it's moving. She took 3 things that represented her and her roots: a statue from a women's community in Africa, a poster of her favorite dancer, and a flag from the student society she belonged to. May spent 8 days spinning around the planet doing all kinds of scientific experiments. And every time she contacted Earth, she used a quote from the TV series she loved so much as a kid, "Hailing frequencies open." May had fulfilled her childhood dream, but she wanted others to keep dreaming alongside her. She became the leader of an organization with an inspiring goal for humans to travel to another star in the next 100 years. And little May, the girl who knew that our dreams are never too big, continues to share with children her universal advice: never be limited by other people's limited imaginations. Just keep going and reach for the stars. And then there's a picture. I don't know if you can see the picture of real May back here. Wasn't that such a good book? Yeah. All right.
Okay, we can go to the snack now, okay?
Can we give our families another round of applause? Generosity is a spiritual discipline. We can now practice our act of giving either by placing your offering in the collection plate or by using the information in your order of service to give electronically.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory has won. Stormy the road we try, bitter the casting rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place where our fathers had sighed. We have come over the waves with the tears that's been watered. We have come treading a path of the blood of the slaughters, out of the gloomy past, till forever we'll stand, where while the white gleams of the bright star cast, God of our weary years, God of our star silent tears, thou who hast brought us far on the way, thou who hast passed thy might, let us into the light. Keep us forever on the path, we pray. Least thy feet, faith from the places, our God, where we met thee. Least our hearts, drunk with the wine of the wine, we forgot thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Gifts to this community of faith are gratefully received. Let us acknowledge these gifts by reading together the words in your order of service. These gifts from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world.
Giving in the offering plate and pledging are a part of how we steward this congregation, but there are countless ways to serve, build community, and share our love with the rest of the city. Here are a few opportunities coming up. There's a Unitarian Universalist teach-in at Tulane. Ask Madeline if you have more information, please reach out to her. Also, choir practices have been moved to Sundays at 9, so we hope that more folks feel encouraged and empowered to come out an hour and a half before service and practice with the choir. We're beginning BIPOC gatherings. If you have any questions, please let me know. We're going to start a listserv, so if you'd like to be a part of that, just please hit me up. It's for BIPOC only, and it's a closed space. And also a reminder to, if you feel so inclined and want to participate in the Black UU Spotlight for this month, please reach out to myself or Tucker. If you'd like to highlight a Black Unitarian Universalist who has made our world and our faith possible. And now I'll invite Gabe to give our first Spotlight announcement.
Hello, everybody. I'm doing a sermon on April 6th, and I am really wanting to gather images and videos that you might have that you hold dear, because I'm going to do a bit of a multimedia presentation. So just come to me and I'll give you my email so you can send me your beautiful memories.
And now I'll invite Beverly to come up with the second Spotlight announcement.
I just want to remind you of the memo that I sent out earlier this week about our invitation to participate with Reverend Jay of the Rain Methodist Church and his partner Carrie. They are going to be walking in the quarter behind a messenger who represents Jesus in a different way than most of us understand Jesus. And so whether you believe Jesus is a God or not, or you just think that Jesus had some pretty wise and compassionate things to say, and you want to march in that respect, please just meet me after the church. I'll just be right here, and because there's a Zoom so that we can talk about it. So everybody is welcome, and meet me after church. Jafia? It's Saturday, this Saturday, February 8th.
Please stand in body or spirit and join in our chalice extinguishing, which is in your order of worship. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of commitment, or the fire of faith. These together in our hearts until we are together again.
Please remain as you are for our closing hymn, number 1028, and your till hymnal.
right, everybody, go forth with joy and curiosity and humility in your ever-extending path of learning. At its founding, our church was known as the Strangers' Church. Please turn and greet your neighbor and join us for coffee hour just outside the back doors to your left.
Hi, we ready? Ready? I was born. Wait. I was born. Selena, I can't hold the microphone and play. Margot, where's Margot? Margot!